Hello everyone, Danielle, Emanuele, and Gareth Wheeler here with you up at the Kia training grounds. And of course, the big news around here, 21-year-old midfielder Marky Delgado signs a multi-year extension with Toronto FC. He has just grown in front of our eyes and has been such a versatile player this year.
What a great end of the season gift, isn't it, for Marky? And well-deserved. 23 starts on the season, 2 goals. He's only 21 years of age, Danielle, but it seems like he's been playing for so much longer. Very versatile, and the best is still to come from this young player. A good player to have at this club over the long term.
I said to Marky, how are you going to celebrate? Maybe pop some bottles of champagne, go for a nice dinner? He said, I think I'll just take a night to relax for myself.
We'd be popping bottles, wouldn't we, Danielle?
I know. Well, let's check in with the 21-year-old and see how he was feeling after today's training session.
I mean, I'm really happy and excited to be here at this club. I mean, it's top notch, and I'm just looking forward to the future.
His best years are still very much in front of him, and we wanted to make sure that he stays with us and that we can make use of and help him get to his top form and make use of his best years that are out in front of him. And so, so that was one of our missions, was to get him re-signed.
Now, in terms of news and notes, the only real update we have for you is midfielder Will Johnson is still remaining questionable for this weekend. But other than that, TFC doesn't have any real injury concerns to worry about. But going back to this weekend in Montreal, another comeback performance. They had to dig themselves out of the hole in order to salvage a point. Why do they keep putting themselves in these positions?
The 2-2 final was big for Toronto FC, picking up that point, because Montreal could have jumped over them in the standings depending on what happens on decision day. More on that in a moment. But you're right, Danielle. Through the last 5 games, TFC has had to fight back from going down at least a goal to come back and get something. This is a negative trend for a team heading into the playoffs, but it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it's positive knowing that this team can come back and score goals when need be. And that's going to be so huge for this team. And I think a new wrinkle has been added to the fray with Sebastian Giovinco and his play after Tosin Ricketts and Tsubasa Endo came on late in the match in Montreal. Sebastian Giovinco dropped back to an attacking midfield position, playing a true number 10 role, and did very well. He was crucial in Tosin Ricketts' goal to tie things up at 2 apiece. And having your best player being able to drop back a little bit deeper and be on the ball on a more regular basis adds something into the head of the coaching staff. Will they maybe play him there a little bit more when needing to push forward and get a goal? Is just something to monitor. Seba can really play anywhere on the field, but how he played so well in that number 10 role late in the game, that's an absolute bonus for this team.
Not to mention Tosin Ricketts, 3 goals in 370 minutes of play, 2 game winners, so he has been a valuable asset off the bench for Toronto FC.
And that's the thing, Danielle, by playing Sebastian Giovinco at that position, it allows Tosin Ricketts to come on and join Jose Altidore, who continues to score goals, and have all 3 really exciting attacking players on the field at once.
Now, that second goal would not have happened also if it wasn't for Justin Morrow. He has been providing crucial service down the wings for Toronto FC, and they're going to need more of that.
Well, especially as of late, he's contributed a goal and 3 assists over his last 6 games, including setting up the first goal last weekend and 2 Jose Altidore. He did it against the New York Red Bulls on Michael Bradley's goal. Against Chicago, he set up Altidore for a goal as well. So that upgrade in service, or better service coming from the flank position, so important because it opens up everything else. And Morrow's really turned into a true threat down that left-hand side.
As you said, decision day is coming up this Sunday. All 10 games across Major League Soccer will be kicking off at 4:00 p.m. So a 2-part question here.
Okay.
The MVP race, what is going to happen with that, Sebastian Giovinco, and what happens with TFC in this game?
Well, Seba is in the top 5 in terms of goal scoring and in terms of assists as well. So his point total jumps off the page, absolutely. But for me, he'd be runner-up as of right now, notwithstanding what happens this weekend. Bradley Wright Phillips has been a beast for the New York Red Bulls, 23 goals on the year, and none of them have come from the penalty spot. He's just been, for me, the biggest, most influential force in the league. And Sebastian Giovinco, he can still put himself right in the mix of that conversation with a big game against Chicago.
Okay, so I think people are a little confused as to what the scenarios are. We know that TFC is hosting a playoff date, but how does that all fit into the bigger picture?
Yeah, we're playing the waiting game to a certain degree. All the TFC can do is take care of their own business. That is going out and winning and beating the Chicago Fire this Sunday at BMO Field. If they do win and New York City FC loses to Columbus, which is improbable but not impossible, then Toronto FC would finish in second place in the conference, which would give them a first-round bye. If they do not, if New York City FC goes on and even picks up a draw in their game this weekend, TFC will finish in third place in the conference, and they'll play either the Philadelphia Union or the Montreal Impact. Now, Philadelphia, most likely. Philly, if they win, they need help from the New England Revolution taking at least a point, or at least picking up a win against the Montreal Impact. If the Impact do pick up a point, regardless of what Philadelphia does against New York this weekend, then Montreal would finish ahead of Philadelphia, and TFC would be staring down a playoff date against the Union either this coming Wednesday or Thursday. So a lot of permutations. All you got to know is if they win, they still have a chance at that first round bye. If not, they'll either play Philadelphia or Montreal in the first round of the playoffs.
Did you guys get all that?
I hope so.
Well, all we know is that we want you guys to be a part of history. Of course, it is the first time in franchise history that Toronto FC is hosting a playoff date at BMO Field, so you can still get your tickets at torontofc.ca. Also, I had a special opportunity to hang out with defender Justin Morrow. We went to Frings, we hung out on King West, and we got to know some interesting things about him. As you know, he's kind of a shy guy, so you'll see a totally different side of him, and that will be coming out at torontofc.ca later on in the week.